put less than 1% of it into action, all right? And that's human nature. So you're not going to master this business in 1-2 hour meeting with some guy from Austin, right? You're not going to master the business working with Frank for a year. You're going to come darn close, because the first year in this business, over 82% of the agents who get their license fail. Okay, by year 3, over 93% of the agents in this business fail. They run out of money. They something happens in their life events happen, whatever it's the case, but we know the numbers from the National Association of Realtors of the turnover and the churn in this business is huge. The odds are against you, okay? And so every one of you got into this business for a different reason. Whether it was you kind of fell into it because somebody in your family was doing it. You lost your job and real estate seemed like a great thing because you see people driving around in fancy cars and brand new Jeeps and all this stuff, and so there's got to be a ton of money, right? We all have different reasons we got into the business, but this business will elevate you to levels you've never seen before in your life from a financial, spiritual, emotional standpoint, and it will crush you faster than you have ever been crushed in your life. And I'm here to testify to that. I have been through all those cycles. I have made, according to the RE/MAX numbers, in the last 5 years that I've been with RE/MAX, I think we're at 5.5 million. So we average $1 million a year. I have a team, and I'm no longer in production. I don't sell houses anymore. Don't go on listing appointments. I stopped that about a year ago, and we did a 1.2 million last year in gross commissions with 5 of us. So me not being in production, so 4 producers. The business will rule your life. It will, if you allow it to, it will take you on a roller coaster that's crazier than anything that, I'm gonna date myself, that Astro World ever had. I grew up here in Houston, but it's fun, and if you can get the daily things down to do on a daily basis, the biggest thing about this business is consistency. Do the same things over and over and over again. And like I said earlier, we're in the most predictable business on the planet, but we're also in the most boring business on the planet. Repetitious boredom is what's going to make you a ton of money and allow you then to do the other things that you want to do, okay? But prospecting, lead generation, all the things that you don't want to hear about is what's going to make you the money. It's not going to be Facebook ads, okay? I'm sorry. It's not going to be, you're not going to get rich on Facebook ads. The guy doing the Facebook ads will get rich, but it's, and you guys probably have heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs: air, water, food, love, those types of things. Well, I have Mark's hierarchy of leads, and the leads that you generate yourself typically are going to be the highest quality opportunities. Whether you're calling expires, whether you're calling for sale by owners, for those of you that are listing, whether you're calling your friends, family, sphere, etc. Those opportunities are going to produce at the least amount of money cost. They're going to produce the highest return. Then you have our friend Zillow, and then you have Realty.com, and then you have Homes.com, and then you have the brokerage portals, and then you have Google pay-per-click, and then you have Facebook. Okay, it's a.
We kind of scoot around that wall, go down that wall there if we can.
Morning, all of you that are come in. I'm Mark. How are you? Hey, good job, man. 6 months you put all this together. There she is. Hey, girl. Good. How are you?
This is the first time I've had 12 RSVPs and 22 people show up, you know?
Perfect. So I'm kind of here. I have 2 agents, Kathy and Teresa, that work our opportunities for us. Michelle had done it for a while, very, very well. And what I do is now you go through these different phases in the business. And so for those of you that are starting out in the business, you're in what I call the dependent stage. You're dependent on Frank. You're dependent on folks like me coming in and helping you build your business. You're dependent on different people to learn from. Lee is a great resource for on the mortgage side of the business, okay? Then you get to a certain amount of volume, and there's no specific number, but I would say probably 10 million a year in production. You become independent, okay? Now you get into that headspace of I'm better than everybody else, right? We were all new. I still remember my first closing and my first listing. It was a for sale by owner. I'm sorry, it was an expired. I held it open. It was in Steiner Ranch in Austin in 2001. Held it open. Another agent brought a buyer through. We got it under contract. I then sold that seller over the years. He has bought and sold 7 properties with me. Okay, and so if you were in a corporation and working, you would be talking about client acquisition costs, and you would be talking about the lifetime value of a client. And major corporations spend hundreds of millions of dollars to understand their clients. Who is their consumer? You guys need to have that same mindset about your business. Who is your consumer and what is your avatar? Who are you and what are you doing? So who do you serve and how do you do it? I'm gonna jump around a lot because I don't have an agenda, but it's a, if I can do anything for you guys this morning, it is to get you from the dependent stage to the independent stage to what I then call interdependent, giving back. Okay, and this is what I'm doing. This is what Frank does. We've done what you guys aspire to do, and we still have huge aspirations and goals and things that we want to achieve. But where you all are today in your businesses, whether you're brand new, whether you're 2 years in and you're hitting that $4 or $5 million a year mark, or 10 or 15 or whatever the number is, the numbers are relevant. It's the mindset of where you're at in the business. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my story, and maybe some of it will resonate with you. But I've started over in this business 3 times. I started in 1999. I worked for a company out of Florida. I lived in Florida at the time. I've lived all over the country and done the whole corporate thing. Life was great, first class travel, everything was great till the company ran out of money. And so I was one of the highest paid, so I was one of the first out. And I'm like, okay, I've got a 2-year-old and a wife and a family, I have people to take care of, and I have no income. And I didn't live this conservative life. I've actually never lived a conservative life of saving and being responsible. I was hey, I'm gonna make more, I'll make more, and I'll spend and go and have fun. So all of a sudden there was nothing there. So I got into real estate. I had watched my mother-in-law in Florida, in Naples, Florida. She did very well. I'm like, I can do this. So I got in, went to work for Coldwell Banker. Coldwell Banker has a pretty structured training program, but there was this lady there that had been in the business for 30 years. She had been at Remax for a long time, and she just every day she was on the phone. And she would go into this little room and she'd have 2 headsets on. This was in 1999, okay? She would have 2 headsets on, dialing 2 lines at a time, and she was saying the same things over and over and over again. Hey, it's Barry with Coldwell Banker, giving you a call about your property, saw it had expired. When do you plan on interviewing the right agent for the job of selling your home? She said that over and over and over, and I sat right outside her. So one day I went up to her and I said, hey, will you teach me what you're doing? And she's like, absolutely. Her son had come into the business, and what she didn't realize was I was going to actually do what she was teaching me and not just listen and then not do it. So I started doing it. And her son's name was Zach, and we started doing it together. So we would go to the back of the office, stand up at a like a podium thing, and we would prospect all day. And I was setting expired appointments, setting FSBO appointments. We would high five each other when we'd set an appointment. We would flip people off when they'd hang up on us. And mind you, this is Florida, where the average age is 98, and I was 32 maybe, and they, you know, well, you're too young to sell my house. You don't know anything. I'm like, I will work my ass off to sell your house. And so we built up a business. But what I learned from Barry, she was coached by this guy named Mike Ferry. And so then I got coached by Mike Ferry. Mike is one of the most abrasive, abrupt, in-your-face guys you'll ever meet, but he's right. And what he taught was scripts and dialogues and doing the same thing every day. Prospect and cold call and do what other agents refuse to do because they're too good to do it. And they don't enjoy doing it, or they're afraid, or they're fearful, or whatever. So Houston, Texas, you guys have 50,000 realtors in the MLS?
It seems like it.
40? What?
25 actually.
20, okay, 25,000, all right. I guarantee you, out of the 25,000 realtors that are licensed in the Houston MLS, 12,000 of them last year sold 0 homes.
Wow.
Okay, I guarantee you, I will put money on that. Secondly, the other 12,000 that are in there, 13,000, out of those that are left that actually did sell a house, there's about less than 50 that consistently prospect every day.
Well, there's a lot of work out there.
Okay, I guarantee it, because it's not fun. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's not Facebook running ads to try to interrupt people's lives to get them to get a home valuation on their house and then try to convince them that you need to sell their house when they had no intention of selling their house in the first place. Okay? So the odds go from 25,000 to less than 50. Okay? Now, Keller Williams will put on a bold class. There'll be a few hundred agents show up. They'll pound the phones for a couple of weeks, and then they'll drop off like flies because it's not glamorous, it's not sexy, and if they have low skills, over there's what I call the flow model. It's not mine, but I copied it. So if you look at the flow model and look at low skills, high difficulty, what's the word in the top left corner?
Burnout.
Burnout. They're going to burn out quickly because they don't have the skill sets, right? And we'll talk about the flow model in a little while. So the odds, if you can learn to prospect, the odds are so hugely in your favor because nobody else does it consistently and they don't do it well, okay? That's one pillar of the business that you can work on. So I started prospecting. I built up a business in Florida. I moved to Texas, moved my family to Austin. I named my son Travis after Lake Travis because I knew I always wanted to be back in Austin. So he was born in California. So came to work with Coldwell Banker 2002 in Austin. Didn't know anybody in Austin, Texas. Started calling expireds. We have sales meetings every week at Coldwell Banker on Tuesday mornings at 10 o'clock. About a month in, after I had been there, one thing they would do is go around the room, who's got a new listing. 1 or 2 agents out of the 40 or 50 that were in the room would have a new listing, and we'd talk about it. And then all of a sudden, Mark Martin starts having a new listing every week, and then 2 or 3 new listings every week, and then 7 new listings a week. And they're like, what is he doing? And I had an agent come up to me, and I'll never forget. Her name is Pat Vincent. She came up to me and she said, I don't know what you're doing, but it's illegal. I sell $7.5 million a year. I work only by referral, and I'm Pat Vincent. I'm like, nice to meet you, Pat. I'm gonna wave as I blow by your $7.5 million. Okay? There are different types of people. Every one of you is different. Every one of you has a different mental makeup, a different want, a different level of drive, a different level of motivation. Okay, this girl, Michelle, she gets it. She gets after it. She's on her deals. She's consistent. There's a reason she's closing deals. She has really happy clients. Okay, I know that because I've watched her work. When you have what I call the chip on the shoulder, my chip has its own area code. Okay, I was always told by my dad growing up that I would never amount to much. I was always told that I would never make more money than he did. My dad was an engineer. I think his best year he made about $45,000. I made that in my first 3 months in real estate. It was basically, F you, Dad. Okay, and I've never stopped since. But every one of you has a different driver. We have personality profiles. Some of you have taken the DISC test. Some of you have taken the Berkman test. Some of you have taken the one with the different colors. Who all in here has taken a personality profile? Okay, so do you do it as you hire them?
No.
Okay. It's important to understand what makes you tick. Okay, I'm fully in alignment with what makes me tick, but I'm going to run over some people in the process. So relationships suffer, all those things suffer, but that's just who I am. That's what drives me. And so you have to understand who you are and what's driving you. So I built my first year, I was Rookie of the Year in 2002 at Caldwell Banker with $11 million in my first year. Then I moved over to Remax and I did, I think, 18 or 20 million with myself and a buyer's agent in 2004. And then I got the great idea that most people do, love you, Frank, but to be a broker. I'm like, I can do this better than Caldwell Banker. I can do this better than Remax. So everybody loves me. I'm big. I got a big fat house. I've got the black big body Mercedes with the